TGQ&A. Hey everybody, my name's Jamie French. Welcome to the Approximate Podcast. You're listening to another episode of, well, hey, got a name change this week. Well, I guess for forever now. We're called TGQ&A. Yeah, decided that the old Ask a Tranny thing is, I don't know, just in light of the kind of climate, what's going on these days. I don't know that I want to fight for a silly little name like Tranny. I don't think that's the hill that I want to die on. So we made the name a little more friendly, and hopefully it doesn't throw anybody for a loop. For all of our 3 listeners. So yeah, name change. The show's going to be called TGQ&A from this point on. So there's that little bit of news. What else is going on before we start getting to questions in the chat room? By the way, if there is anybody in the chat room right now, please feel free to speak up and let me know if you can hear and see the show. But in the meantime, we're going to go right along, and I'd like to give a big old thank you to a longtime fan and a new friend. We'll just call him by his first name, Doug. Doug really pulled my ass out of the fire this week. Was kind enough to drop off a laptop, essentially a brand new laptop with all kinds of really good specs. In light of the fact that my main computer where I do all my editing and all my projects and stuff kind of shat the bed. So I sent some feelers out there, but not asking for a new computer or anything like that, but just letting people know that production is going to be slow with only my spare laptop to work with. Fortunately, I didn't lose any of my hard drives or anything like that, and essentially the computer that busted, it's all working except my motherboard blew out. So as soon as I replaced the motherboard on the thing, everything should be back up and running. In the meantime, I do have this really neat, awesome extra laptop to help get through the day. So thank you, Doug. Thank you very much for that, and really appreciate it. And just in time, too, because I'm going to need this piece of equipment for a show that we're going to be doing on Monday, an official Approximate podcast show, probably the first Monday show we've done in maybe 3 or 4 weeks, I imagine. And it's going to feature some very special guests, some new friends to the show, some people that I've been talking with online for, the better part of 6 months to a year now. The really cool ladies from the White Wine True Crime podcast. They're going to be some guests of ours on Monday, and we're going to talk about some really neat stuff. That's Carrie Morton and Caitlin Cutt. Check those ladies out at whitewinetruecrime.com. Check out their show. Yeah, I think you're going to fucking love these ladies. I'm a huge fan of these ladies. They also do the Pretty Scary show on the Unpopular Opinion podcast network. So check out either one of those. I'll put some links in the description, or just follow me on the Twitter, and I'll keep bringing it up and bugging you guys about it. But you should definitely check out those ladies. You're going to see them on Monday when we do the show with them. So thanks again, Doug, for helping me make that happen at the 11th hour. Really appreciate it. So let's go ahead. Kind of tired, and I got a lot to do in preparation for Monday's show. So we do have a few questions that were emailed to TGQ&A. And we're going to zip along through them. And if I'll give a few minutes after these questions to address the chat room and see if there's anything going on over there, anything anybody wants to talk about. And then we'll wrap this thing up and give me a little time to pay attention to production for Monday's show, which is going to be a whole big to-do. So let's just start here. Got a question from Evelyn at something at some sort of email.com. First question. Evelyn asks, do you have times where you find that you have started arguments when you don't mean to? In brackets, we have, this comes from me accidentally setting up a number of YouTubers this week without, setting off a number of YouTubers this week without meaning to. Guess they've got thinner skin than me. Okay, well, I'll address the first part of your question. And then maybe that will lead to the second part, which honestly sounds a little snarky the way you ended it, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that. So do you ever have times where you find that you started arguments when you don't mean to? Well, shit, all the time. That's what being a human being is all about. Anytime that I get onto, I'm sorry, for those that are just listening, I'm trying to pick a goddamn hair off the microphone. Anyway, yeah, every time I get on the frickin' internet, I run the risk of starting an argument where I don't mean to. And it's gotten better and better over the years. But I've always told people, and people know me for being a kind of an asshole with a big mouth, with hopefully a heart of gold. But I've had a reputation for being mouthy. And I'm really trying to work on it, and I'm trying to usually I will, when I find myself in an argument online, it's because I fucking butted my nose into business I shouldn't have fucking butted it into, usually with what I think are the best intentions, but it turns out the only reason, and you'll get to know this and you'll get to learn this as you grow older and older still. Usually when you find yourself in an argument, especially online, it's not because you're generally an argumentative person. It's because you're using an argument to lash out for other completely unrelated things. You know, you're using it as an excuse to blow off steam, getting into arguments. And the internet makes it incredibly easy for you to blow off steam with essentially very few consequences. Hansel? Anyway, yeah. So I'm trying to do it less and less often. Getting in arguments isn't such a big deal. I mean, it's good to have debating skills, you know, it's good to sharpen your critical thinking skills, and sometimes you can only do that by having a back and forth dialogue with somebody. But there are times where you feel like you've crossed the line from simple debate to just shouting matches, and you leave the conversation really uneasy, you know, if you have any kind of conscience whatsoever. The things that really bother me is when I get into arguments with people that I respect and care for and admire, and make a complete jackass out of myself just because I don't want to argue with them. I'm simply not paying attention to something else that's going on in my life, and I'm unpacking it on the people that I know and admire, because those are the people that I generally have the most access to. So I try to pay attention to red flags before I open my big stupid mouth. But it takes time. You know, anger management is it's like anything else. It's a personal journey, and you have to have enough wherewithal. You have to have enough self-awareness, and also be able to pay attention to what other people are saying about you in order to gauge how well you're doing when addressing a problem such as getting into arguments. You got to always be asking yourself, why did I put myself here? Why am I doing this? It never turns out well, these arguments. And then you wind up like kind of low-level burning bridges, or you put unnecessary strain on potential opportunities where otherwise you would have been fine. But because you weren't addressing things in your life the healthy, appropriate way, you just start bitching and shit online, and it's no bueno. So it's just something you have to work on. There's no quick fix for it. Yes, I do find myself doing it, and I think I've thoroughly explained the first part of your question, I hope. If not, Ask another one. Make me refine my point. That's what I'm here for. But let me get to the second part of your question, Evelyn. You say, this comes from me accidentally upsetting. Oh, that's what you're trying to say. This comes from me accidentally upsetting a number of YouTubers this week without meaning to. Guess they got thinner skin than me. Well, that's a very passive-aggressive thing to say. By what standard are you judging people's skin thickness? If you know what I'm saying. What makes you so cool that, how do you know you're not just being an asshole? And it's not that they have thin skin. Maybe you fucking stepped over the line. Ever think of that, hot shot? Maybe it's time to do a little soul searching. Okay? You know, take that for what it is. You may have very well have been dealing with thin-skinned people. But since I wasn't there to see the thing that you're talking about, and because you did bring it up and make a snarky comment, I'm leaning more towards maybe work on your asshole skills. Tone them down a little bit. I'm just saying, I could be wrong. I don't know you. So, I don't know, experiment. Come back to me with the results. Or come with the counter argument and let me address that if I got you pegged all wrong. So, let me get to the second question here. All right, let's see. Have you ever had the urge to just walk away from everyone and everything in your life and start again? Oh my goodness. Every time I lay my head on the pillow, do I have that exact fantasy? And I think we all do. I don't think that we're talking about adults here, like full form frickin' adults. I don't know that anybody is so completely happy with their life that they can't imagine themselves in a better place, or that they haven't built up enough complicated stresses throughout all the years they've been living. And we all have very interwoven, complicated tapestries that make up our lives. Complicated. And it's so appealing to think, you know, you just want to wipe the board clean. You know, what if you just liquidated all of your assets? You took all your gear to the pawn shop. You cashed in all your banknotes, and you just took like a sack of cash, and you just went out west, and just whatever the fuck happens, so long as I don't have to do any of this anymore. And yeah, that's an appealing fantasy, but unfortunately, that's not the way life works. You can't do that. Now, what you can do is you can take aspects of that fantasy, and you can use those as goals. So as an example, with the kind of work that I do, just use me as an example because I know my story the best. I would have, yes, I think about packing up and moving away, or just dropping everything and leaving everything behind. Not realistic, but because of the business that I'm in, I know that certain locations on this earth, I would maybe thrive a little better in, you know, with all my skill sets and stuff. And I can't necessarily leave to go pursue those other places, but I can turn that fantasy into goals to work towards without dropping everything. You know, so many of the things that drive us crazy in life, that make us want to move away and wipe the slate clean, are the very things that propel us forward. They're, you know, the hassles of your job. Make enough money to put roof over your head and maybe put a little money aside so that you can move forward with your dreams. But you got to do the shitty thing. You know, it's a catch-22. Also, you don't, you know, it's a great fantasy, but at the same time, all those hassles in your life, those things, whether you like it or not, you actually depend on to learn lessons from, so that you can have less of a hard time in your life. But you have to have those hard times. You know, it's fight or flight, what we're essentially talking about here. Wanting to wipe the slate clean and just fucking go away from everything that's bugging you is the flight response. But that's only gonna put you in a place where you're gonna build up a whole new cachet of, or cache, however you want to say it, of problems that you're gonna have to deal with in this new place that you're at. See, you can't run from your problems. No, You have to fight every time. Unless the only reason that you should have to ever wipe the slate clean is if you ratted on the mob. You know, that's it. Other than ratting out the mob, you have to fight. So yeah, I've had those fantasies. I've thought about those thoughts. Can't do them. Can't do them because I'm only cheating myself if I get all crazy and try to chase that little fantasy down. It's just not going to work. So a third question here. Let's see here. And guys, I see you in the chat room. I will get to you because we got 2 more questions here, and then I will address the chat room, and then we'll close this fucker down because I don't want to take up too much of your time. Again, we're preparing for Monday's show, which is going to be a fucking blast, and you'll want me to pay a lot more attention to that production than this stupid thing that I do here every week when I can. Okay, so 3 is, and I'm just reading these. I haven't reviewed these. I glanced at them for a second, but I'm just going to read what I see. I had an appointment at the gender clinic. Is that a thing? A gender clinic? Anyway, I had an appointment at the gender clinic, and I feel really good for it, but I had to have blood tests taken. This was the second set in 1 week due to other health issues. Do you find blood tests tiring? Well, first of all, I assume you're talking about an endocrinologist. Because that's the only kind of doctor in a trans person's position that I could imagine would be taking blood tests other than a plastic surgeon. Well, no, I don't. The only time I ever take blood tests is for, you know, talent testing for when I'm about to go on set for all the adult crap that I do. It doesn't happen often enough to where, you know, it's a shitty routine for me. It's just some minor annoyance that I have to put up with for about 15 minutes once, I don't know, maybe, 6 or 7 times a year. I don't give a shit. It's just, it comes and it goes. It's not a big thing that I worry about. No, I mean, nobody likes needles. But blood tests these days, you get a good nurse, slips it in real nice and smooth, you don't feel it. I mean, they're really good these days with the blood test. It doesn't bug me so much. I mean, you know, I think everybody feels that little bit of anxiety trudging up to the doctor's office to get some blood work done, but it comes and it goes real quick. You know, so it's not a thing that I think about. If it's a thing that you think about and it's bugging you, I mean, I'm really sorry for you, but, you know, I also don't know what kind of blood test they're doing on you. Are they taking like a fucking gallon of blood, or are they taking like a vial or 2? You know, if it's just a vial or 2, fucking chin up, man up, motherfucker, and just go get it done. This is what you got to do. Be an adult. Use my asshole skills there to my advantage. So, last question, number 4. Have you ever seen someone you know do something that made you wince? Well, yes, of course. And for me, I'll make it very specific because, I mean, who doesn't? I mean, YouTube exists, and we all seem to love watching videos of people failing. You know, we all love that, whatever the modern version is of America's Funniest Home Videos, getting a fucking baseball to the nuts videos. We still, you know, and we all wince, and yeah, you know. But the thing that makes me wince, I have a condition. I don't know what the fuck you call it. My brain's buggy. I have some funky wiring here, and I got this thing that, as near as I can tell, has been labeled as misophonia. Okay, misophonia, and that is certain frequencies of sound. Usually attached to like biological function, certain kinds of chewing, swallowing, the sound of people clearing their throats or talking with their mouth full, these kind of sounds that have these like wet, clicky kind of, you know, textures to them, drives me up the fucking wall, like irrationally circumvents my rational brain and goes right to my limbic system, and I become irrationally angry to the point where I want to punch a wall. and I don't know how to explain it. I know half of my family has it, and half of my mom has it. My sisters don't. I think my brother has it. My dad doesn't. So, I mean, I remember very clearly when, I don't know, I was about 12, and I had been playing outside, and I ran in, and I was so thirsty. It was so hot outside. It's Texas heat. I go, a big glass of water right out of the fucking sink, and my mom's standing there. She's cooking something, and I just do what kids do. I take the fucking glass, and it's this sound, and I apologize in advance, but it's this kind of sound. Yeah, my mom smacked me in the face because she has it, and she immediately, you know, I put the glass out. I was like, "What the fuck was that for?" And she's like, "You can't, you," and she didn't know how to explain it to me because this is like 1993, 1992 or whatever, and you know, she's she doesn't know. There's no internet. She didn't look this thing up. She just knows that the sound makes her wince. Getting back to the point, the wincing that you're talking about, and that it drives her up the fucking wall. And it wasn't till after puberty for me that that same kind of thing started happening in my own head, and now I'm hypersensitive to those kind of sounds, and they make me fucking wince every time. Every time that'll make me wince. But like other normal stuff that affects the entire human race, I imagine, makes me wince as well. You know, that whole ugh moment. You know, when anybody makes a mistake, that'll make me wince. You know, like scratching your nails on a chalkboard, yeah, that'll make me wince. So, you know, to answer your question, yeah, there are definitive things that make me wince, but all in all, I guess I wince at all the normal shit that everybody else winces at. If you meant something different by that question, again, feel free to clarify right back in, and maybe we can pinpoint it if I didn't answer your question to your satisfaction. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, hey, this is great. We're 24 minutes in. I didn't really plan on this to be anything more than about a 30-minute show. So I'm going to go check the burner line real quick. That's 817-673-3704. And I'm going to see if we have anything written in our text. No, nothing. Nobody's calling the burner line. What a waste of money that phone was. Okay, and nothing on my personal phone. Nope, just a missed call. Okay, so now it is time to address the chat room. Oh, hey, we got Brett Wendell. Brett Wendell, longtime listener in the room. Okay, we got a question here. Brett Wendell asked, thoughts on Chelsea Manning. You know what? I feel so bad. I am so out of fucking, I guess I'm out of the loop. Now I got to look up Chelsea Manning to see what the fuck you're talking about. Jesus Christ, you caught me off guard. This is why I kind of need a co-host for a show like this, because I need somebody looking up shit while I'm gabbing so that we can catch up with the listeners. But I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can fill a little space here while I quickly look up Chelsea Manning. Chelsea Manning? You know, in the porn industry, there are so many girls named things like Chelsea and Portia and Crystal, and oh man, I don't even know if that's somebody that's in my business or if this is a public figure I simply don't know about but probably should know about. Chelsea Manning. I'm typing this in right now into the old Google. So we got a hit on the Chelsea Manning. Okay, so something going on here. Chelsea Elizabeth Manning's former United States Army soldier who was convicted of court-martial July violations of Espionage Act, other offenses. Oh boy. Okay. This is, you know what? I'm going to do some research on this because this seems involved and it seems a little bit over my head. But I'm going to look up Chelsea Manning. And if there's something that she's up to these days that needs to be remarked on or that you want me to answer questions about, I will get you next week. If there's any specific thing about Chelsea Manning that you want to know, Brett Wendell, send me an email. You guys send us emails at approximatepodcast@gmail.com. That's the best way we're going to be able to answer you on the show. Sorry I couldn't answer that last question, but we're gonna tap this show out. And remember, the new name of the show is TGQ&A, Transgender Q&A, I suppose, or whatever the fuck you want to make of it. You know, I don't want the sticking up for the word tranny to be the hill that I die on. Times they are a-changin', and I can't be precious about that kind of stuff. It's just a fucking word. So, in the I'd say in the honor. No, that's not the word. In the I can't think of the fucking word I want to say, so it doesn't matter. But it's TGQ&A right now. So I'm going to play us out with a song. And, oh, you know, I should read that little fucking thing. We're trying to end every one of our Approximate Podcast shows with this little screed here. Oh, I know what I was going to say. In the spirit of not being an asshole and not using my asshole skills, you know, in the wrong direction, the name of the show has changed. So that was a whole lot of tripping over my words to get to that little bit of information that you didn't need to begin with. So follow us on Twitter at ApproxPod, APPROXPOD. Very easy. That's the Twitter. Get on there. Get on there. Let's get those Twitter followers up. Got to get all these numbers up, or else they're gonna take my cat away. Get our podcast on iTunes through the whatever podcast app you're using on your phone. Doesn't matter which kind of phone you're using. Just go through your podcast app and look up Approximate Podcast. You'll find us. Leave reviews for it, please. Good reviews mean everything. Let's see. And also visit our mothership. It's the approximatepodcast.com. So you... when in doubt, when you have like, oh God, how do I find it? I find them on YouTube, SoundCloud. How do I work the app thing? Just go to approximatepodcast.com. Shit, everything's there. All the links, all the shows, and all the formats. It's a grand time for all, and it works on your stupid phone. So here's the song. Random chords. I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't plan this out. I'm not gonna sing anything in tune, but I can tell you there's a new name of the show. It's called TGQ&A. TGQ&A. Okay, good night, folks. We'll see you on Monday.